Ravens flock, we've got a little day after Thursday Night Football Ravens lunch hour live stream for you on deck. It is brought to you by our friends at Manta Sleep, and welcome inside the vault. It is Friday, September 6th. It's a quick turnaround. That's how it goes for primetime football. One of us is feeling a little bit more energetic and got her workout in than the other, but that's how it is. Such is life for these days, and it's a jammed one. We have a featured guest, Beau Brade, will be joining us in about 20 minutes from right now. Ravens undrafted safety out of Maryland. He wasn't a healthy scratch last night. He was an inactive, but I think it goes without saying, one, can't wait to celebrate him and what he's done and learn a little bit about his story, but also maybe get his sideline perspective on what the secondary's game plan was last night, going up against Rashee Rice, going up against Xavier Worthy and the Kansas City Chiefs. But lots to discuss. You see the title that Sarah and I have in play here on the YouTube side of things. Isaiah Likely goes nuclear. And the NFL world is in shock. There's been a lot of reaction, Sarah, about his press conference. There's been a lot of reaction about video that caught him saying a few choice words to Chiefs fans on his way out of Arrowhead. And that was just one of many things that made it a very memorable night for the third-year tight end.
I mean, if the game wasn't crazy enough, that when you add in, the NFL world reacting to Isaiah, they're reacting to Lamar's press conference also. So we'll get through that. Then I really do want to talk about this potential, what people are terming an identity crisis. It seems a little early for week one, but basically these questions about being able to use Lamar and Derrick Henry together. The Ravens clearly haven't solved that. And then the offensive line doesn't help. What else do we got? I mean, there's the updates on Kyle Van Noy, his injury situation, busted coverage analysis, media predictably talking about the topic. Is this Lamar's fault? And then just a little bit, we covered the officiating a lot last night, but I wanted to get some of the reaction from the NFL world on that too. And that's not even counting Beau Brade, as you said. So a lot to get to this afternoon.
Yeah, we're going to keep it moving with some fast pace here. Here are your highest graded Ravens in week one, according to PFF. Isaiah Likely leads the way. And how about the screenshot here, leaving 6 Cook in the dust with just a hezzy, one of the all-time hezzies, pump the brakes, 100 miles an hour to 0 for a half second, waltzes into the end zone. He leads the way for Beau with a 91.8 overall grade. Adafe Owe came in at second, 85.4. Tyler Linderbaum, pretty big drop-off there from where Isaiah and Adafe were. But Linderbaum was 73.8, Derrick Henry 67.5, and Ronnie Stanley 67.4.
Could you imagine Ronnie Stanley's score if it weren't for those 3 illegal formation penalties?
He had 4 of them. Yeah.
Oh, 4, my bad.
Yeah, 3 or 4 of them. And as you referenced, he did mention a little bit about how he was feeling post-game. So we'll have that in just a bit. But shall we begin with Isaiah's comments at the post-game podium?
Let's do it.
Okay, here he is. Last night, late in Kansas City.
The worst game we're going to play all year. So if this is the best that they got, I mean, good luck in the postseason.
We'll run that back.
This is probably the worst game we're going to play all year. So if this is the best that they got, I mean, good luck in the postseason.
If this is the best that they got, good luck in the postseason. Your reaction to that was what?
Well, before I give a reaction to that, let's come because it's kind of my reaction is more to what Isaiah said fully and what Lamar says fully, like these different clips. So, do you mind if we play kind of all 4 of them to kind of give like a feeling for how both those guys were after the game? Unless you want to react to this one, but my reaction doesn't make as much sense without all of them together.
I think it's a good idea to put it all together.
All right. So then let's go over to Isaiah when he's coming off the field and he's being taunted. When he's being taunted by Chiefs fans, he let him have it.
Yeah. And FUB way out into the tunnel. So you've got him up at the post-game press. As far as Isaiah is concerned, we'll get to Lamar in a second. As far as Isaiah is concerned, you essentially have to be like, hey, if Kansas City, if this is all they got, good luck in the postseason. Essentially being like,
right,
we're gonna see you again.
Right.
And then the second part of it was obviously some expletives, some choice words. Probably wasn't thrilled that went viral. Heat of the moment type of thing as he's walking off the field after battle. So That's Isaiah, and now Lamar needs to be set up.
A lot of people are talking about what Lamar was saying, and so the first one here, of course, especially Kansas City media and fans didn't love this one.
I thought it was a touchdown. I still think it's a touchdown.
Okay, so referring to Isaiah Likely's toe and thinking that that was a touchdown. And then he very famously said that the Chiefs were his kryptonite a couple years ago. And so a media member asked him, like, are they still your kryptonite now that you're 1-5? And he says,
called Kansas City your kryptonite in the past. Is the last drive?
It's not my kryptonite.
What's that?
It's not my kryptonite.
Okay.
Yeah, Sarah, you're not kidding. Between those 4 clips right there, very defiant Lamar Jackson and Isaiah Likely, guys that were unafraid to speak up a little bit. But as we talked about in our pre-show meeting, some of this was just straight up inaccurate. I mean, it wasn't a touchdown.
Yeah. So the comments put together, there's the accuracy and reality check of it all. And then there's like an attitude of it all. Okay. It was not a touchdown. We all wanted it to be. I think we were all on the roller coaster when we were celebrating it. And then all of a sudden you see the replay and you just like want to throw up when you see the centimeter of his toe out. So it was a touchdown. Is it more accurate than not that they're his kryptonite, if you want to use that word? I mean, it's 1-5, and it's not just Lamar. It's, the whole team. Chiefs is the whole league's kryptonite, as they are trying to go for a 3-peat. Isaiah Likely saying, if this is the best they got, well, good luck in the playoffs. Well, this isn't the best they got. They dropped 2 would-be touchdowns also. They were rusty
without
also.
Marquise Brown.
They were without Marquise Brown. So this isn't the best they got. And then you usually like to see, athletes shrug off fans trolling as they do.
And Sarah, they had a rookie at left tackle as well in Kingsley. So there you can go.
Right.
You can
so
go
he's
all
going
over
to
the
get
place.
better. Right.
Yes.
I mean, the Chiefs are going to get better. Okay. Now, so there's the accuracy side of it. We can all sit here and be like, yeah, okay, that most of that stuff that they said is not true. And then there's the attitude part of it. The other day I listened to, Bobby, an interview with Travis Kelce and Rich Eisen. And it was before the game. And he's like, hey, what's up with you and Tucker? And he's like, oh, I was having fun. And he's got a smile on his face. And we know what he's saying isn't true.
Yeah.
Okay. It isn't true. But Kelce has an attitude. He has a dog attitude. So these statements, it's kind of like that statement we read that got released by the Washington Post right before the game, where Lamar was like, man, if I wasn't hurting, I could have ran and we could have won. And then he said, F throwing.
Yeah.
Does he literally mean F throwing? No. It's an attitude. How much did he throw last night? I mean, they didn't run as much as we thought they were, and we're going to get to that with Derrick Henry. Nah. Nobody outside of Baltimore is going to like what those 2 guys said. And everybody inside of Baltimore can admit that it wasn't, accurate. But everybody inside of Baltimore is going to love that attitude, because screw this. No, you are not my kryptonite. And I don't care what the record says, because I'm tired of that way that we played before, acting like we need to look up to you, acting like we need to worship you, acting like you guys are above us. You're not. We were a centimeter within, and we didn't play well at all. We know you guys didn't do your best, but we didn't come close to playing our best. And we are a centimeter away from a game time or tying or a game winning series there. I love that Isaiah Likely is like, good luck in the playoffs, because he expects to be there and he expects to be better. And so this attitude that we've seen on the defense for decades, we've been wanting it on the offense. And you got some guys here and there, like when Steve Smith came in or Anquan Bolden came in, all that kind of stuff. No. These 2 are going to be your dogs, okay? They're going to be your dogs, and they're going to bring the attitude, and they're not out here to be, accurate and this and that. They need to come with the brand of football, and they brought it in the face of a loss. They brought it, and I hope they continue to be it. And I don't care that the rest of the NFL world is in shock. I don't care that they hate it. We watched, both you and I watched television programming this morning from ESPN to NFL Network and all of that. They all said essentially what Warren Sharp is saying here, which is to Isaiah Likely, this ain't it. That's not KC's best, but it was enough to beat you tonight. Both these teams will only get better. Talking wild after week 1 loss is dumb. I get that. That's, of course, like, I get that's why everybody else is going to say that. But that's not what it's about here in Baltimore. I want the offense to take on an identity that takes back what happened in that AFC Championship game. Lamar is becoming a more vocal leader. He's getting into his offensive line's face. He's more encouraging. He's talking. It's a new attitude because they have the talent, and now the attitude has got to match. And I don't hate that they said this right after they just lost, because to me, it means they're ticked off and they're going to still come. They're coming. No way are they intimidated by the Chiefs. What the national folks are honing in on here is taking Lamar and Zay at face value with some of the words that they gave you in high emotional moments in post-game press conferences or just last night in general. What I think we're looking at and giving great value to is the MO and DNA of the 2024-25 Ravens from an offensive standpoint. Something that hopefully is a trickle-down effect, something that hopefully is sustainable throughout the course of this entire season and creates not only a sense of urgency, we know that's already there, but it creates this hunger. And it's an understanding that, like, yeah, unfortunately, we know in our heart of hearts that, yeah, Lamar is 1-5 against this team, and we haven't been able to get over them. We haven't been able to get past them in a do-or-die playoff game yet. But we expect to be there. That's what our standard is of excellence in this Lamar era. And we'll see you again in January. And if you give us what you gave us tonight, we expect to be better. But you can't blame the national side for reacting the way that they did. And neither one of us are. If like another team said that, like, about the Ravens, like, you'd be like, what are you even talking about? Yeah.
We would feast on it.
Yeah.
Now, what the national side is feasting on is taking a certain angle in terms of the late moments of the game when it comes to Lamar Jackson. And Ryan Clark took the angle of an NBA comp when looking at Lamar.
We've been talking basketball. We talked about Kevin Durant. Lamar Jackson right now is like Russell Westbrook, right? We watch Russell Westbrook throughout the regular season and even in the playoffs have these great statistical games, has this huge impact on what teams are doing. But you remember when he and Dame Lillard went head-to-head and it got emotional. He couldn't make a shot. Right? Everything he was trying to aim, every time he was open, it was hitting the back of the iron. It wouldn't go in. And what did Dame Lillard do? At the end of the game, Dame Lillard sidestep, shot the 3, and he hit us with the right. That's
look at his watch.
Right. That's the difference right now between Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. He can do so much, and he did so much last night. And it's almost that you feel bad killing him about those 2 throws because of what he did. Yeah. But that's the position. If I play lockdown defense at the cornerback position the entire game, and then I give up a deep ball in the 2-minute drive, I'm wrong. I've cost.
So, for those of you who are the audio-only audience, the debate topic that they have up on the screen that Ryan is responding to is: did Lamar Jackson cost the Ravens down the stretch? Was he perfect down the stretch? By the way, the NBA comp, Sarah, I'm not with that. It's so hard to compare NBA players to NFL solely based on the amount of games that these players play in their respective leagues. Lamar wins so many more games on average than Russell will. But then again, Russ is playing in a ton more games in an NBA calendar format. So I'm not with that whatsoever. Okay. And I'm also not with the topic of, did Lamar cost the Ravens down the stretch? I'm of the belief that you could find double-digit quarterbacks, a double-digit amount of quarterbacks in this league as starters when you look at all 32 of them. And if you were to insert 10 of them into Lamar's role last night, I think it ends up being a 2-possession game in favor of Kansas City. He had his Superman cape on last night. He was special. Wasn't special enough down the stretch, but they were less than an inch away with an opportunity to either tie it up or, like John Harbaugh made it very clear before they looked at that, go for the win.
The national shows have a very, very cunning way of being able to phrase these topics to where it's just controversial enough, right? If somebody walked down the street this morning and said, Sarah, did you see that game last night? Lamar Jackson cost the Ravens. right? You'd be like, what?
Did you watch?
Like,
Were you watching baseball?
Did you watch? Because the Ravens wouldn't have even been in it if it weren't for Lamar. Lamar's playing with this leaky offensive line. Weren't able to use Derrick Henry as much as they wanted. He's calmly going down the right. So all that kind of stuff. I think the way Ryan said it, though, even though the way it's phrased, he said you almost feel bad to say it, because Ryan's point, one of Ryan's points that I agree with, is that this isn't a comparison of, is Lamar a top 3 quarterback and it's dumb that you picked Burrow or somebody else or whatever. This is, you're going up against a potential record-breaking dynasty, okay? Where you've got 3 Hall of Famers to overcome with Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce. And who knows what Chris Jones is going to turn into, right?
Oh, he'll be one of them.
He could be, I mean, his trajectory, right? So the point is that in that final moment, Lamar brought him all the way to that final moment. And it's almost that first pass to Isaiah Likely in the end zone where he overthrew him. That one actually gets to me the most, because the Zay and Bate one feels like a little bit of a miscommunication. Like he expected Bateman to do something else, and then he didn't see Zay, and then like the throw, like it just was like,
that was clunky. It was tough. It just wasn't. It had zero chance. Right.
It was just, the whole thing was off. Like, it was
the
just
loft
off.
underneath that ball too. What hurt so much was like time is of the essence. And when you see a lofted ball with 20 seconds left, like, oh no, I wish it was a quick hitter, like a quick across the middle or a quick slant or something that'll allow you to get another play in. And they got another play in.
Right.
But it was just, and then Isaiah goes down, and you're thinking, oh, here we go.
Right.
For him to have come back in minutes later, if not seconds
like,
later,
it's unreal. Yeah, it's
exceptional.
Unreal. And so like the Zay one, like it's the first one that like gets under me most, because Isaiah was open. If you threw it in front of him, like the guy was behind him, he could have bodied him, all this kind of stuff. So that one was just like an off pass.
Yeah.
And so the classic 2 things are true at once. Ravens aren't even in that game with Lamar. He had a special game, but it wasn't special enough to overcome all those Hall of Famers that the Chiefs have.
Yep.
And the point is not burying Lamar. It's saying, if you want to be the one to separate yourself from the pack of the Bengals and the Bills and maybe the Jets if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, like all these, or the
Houston.
49ers, Houston, if you want to separate from all of them and say, no, we're the biggest threat to the Chiefs, then yes, Lamar has to make one of those throws. One of them. Or Isaiah Likely has to keep his toe in. I mean, Lamar did make that throw. So did Lamar cost them the game? That's about as messed up if we said the refs cost the Ravens the game.
Right.
They both had massive impacts, obviously. So did Lamar cost them the game? No. But he missed a massive opportunity for sure. Because had he made one of those throws, we'd be talking this morning that it was like Lamar put the team on his back and beat the storied franchise. And this is not inevitable that they're going to go, three-peat. So it was for sure a missed opportunity. No, he didn't cost, but if he makes the throw, they win. So did he cost it? I guess. Like, did Isaiah Likely cost him the game because he didn't get the centimeter of his toe in? I guess. Like, did Marlon Humphrey cost him the game or whoever was supposed to be behind him? Did he cost him the game? Like, you could play this game all day, So, but Lamar definitely had a missed opportunity to make a statement.
What's immeasurable that could very well have contributed to costing him the game was how much duress he was under, which obviously takes a toll. And when you finally get to the fourth quarter and you've been running around for 3 hours, like this chart shows you, courtesy of Next Gen Stats, that's a part of this. Lamar scrambled 12 times against Kansas City, 19.5% of his dropbacks, which was his 3rd highest rate in the last 4 seasons. Most of his scrambling production came on the ground. He gained 75 rushing yards on 10 scrambles. And of course, his lone completion was that unbelievable street ball improvisation, off script, 49-yard touchdown bomb to Isaiah Likely. But look at those squiggly lines, Sarah.
Mhm.
That is exhausting to look at.
The guy had almost 400 total yards of offense.
Yeah.
400 total yards of offense
And you've
against
got
the
people calling him
Chiefs.
a running back online.
And you know
The
what?
guy from Outkick, like, bro, he was a fantastic runner last night.
Yeah.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
But the perfect, let me see where this, do we have the Acho?
What you looking for?
The Acho
I'll find it
response
for
to
you. You
that.
talk.
Yeah. So again, I just wish people would embrace people calling him a running back. Like, because it's like, yeah, he's the best running back on the field, and guess what? He also was like right there with Patrick Mahomes as the best quarterback on the field. And that's
Literally.
the crazy part about it. So yeah, Bobby Burke says Lamar Jackson is a great running back. Acho of all people, right, who's been hard on Lamar. He says, now, Bobby, Lamar threw for 273 yards with no interceptions and a 90 passer rating. By the way, Mahomes had like 18 more yards and had an interception, right? But then Lamar adds on 122 rushing for 395 total yards. He had the most rushing yards of anybody. So he's a quarterback that's better than most quarterbacks. And last night was just as good as Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. And a runner that's better than most running backs. Embrace it. I say embrace it because, yeah, he's better than all your running backs and he's better than your quarterback, maybe minus the Chiefs. But everybody else, he's either better than all your running backs and he's better than he's either at least as good as your quarterback or better. Embrace it. Take it.
MVP things.
There we
MVP
go.
things.
He's the ultimate dual threat.
It is now 12:30, and in the waiting room, we have somebody that I think a lot of the local folks here in our audience are going to appreciate. Beau, give us a thumbs up if you're ready to roll, and we'll bring you in here in just a second. But Beau Brade is this year's undrafted rookie who earned a spot on the 53-man roster. He played his college football at Maryland. He was a standout at River Hill, for those of you who are local to the Maryland area, and now we welcome him inside the vault day after Thursday Night Football. We're waiting for that debut, Beau, but at least you can make your debut here with us, and we're glad you can spend some time on this Friday.
Of course. Thank you for having me. Appreciate
Congratulations, first and foremost. We've been following your story. I think you've already kind of, the local feel knew you, but then when you came in and had yourself a summer the way that you did, I think you really kind of you made a lot of fans within this fan base. So what has your last week or two been like since you got the call? Or I guess you didn't get a call, right? Do you get a call?
Yeah. No, so when I found out on the field, the practice after Green Bay, Eric came up to me and just was like, "You're like, you had a pretty good preseason." And I'm like, thank you. Not trying to, I don't really know. We're taking my hopes up, down, head's kind of all over the place. We still have practice, but today's the last day before cuts and everything. And then he just said flat out that congratulations, you made the 53-man roster. So at first we're on like our situation time during practice. So we got like the sound loud, the speakers loud. So I can't really hear him at first. So I just, smiled and nodded. And then I heard congratulations again. And then I realized that I made the team and I was like, thank you. And I appreciate it. And I called my parents. So, that was a cool experience.
What was your parents' reaction?
Well, they were both at work. So I had to call them on the phone, but I think they were crying. That's what it sounded like. And they were, overjoyed, couldn't wait to tell everybody.
Did you ever have a moment where you're like, I think I got this? Like, I don't know. There's so many good defensive backs. And I actually, let's go back to that. Did you ever worry about signing with the Ravens as an undrafted rookie, knowing how many defensive backs they had? And you're like, man, this could be a high hill to climb. Or were you just like, no, I'm going for this and I'm just going to believe in myself?
It was, with me and the team around me, I was definitely confident in, my game, as you have to be, at this level. But of course, I know all the, Pro Bowlers, all pros that are on this defense as, defensive backs. And as I see them, it's like, man, we have a lot of great players already. But I just see it as, I get to compete against the best in the nation. I get to learn from the best and, get to make myself better. And really, that was, the best part of it. Now, I'd be lying if I say there wasn't like, times down the road throughout camp. I was like, I don't know. But, I just keep on working, couldn't let it get to me. And, just keep on going 100% every day. And, it turned out on 53. So great.
Beau, you're a Ravens fan through and through. I read your profile. So this is a pretty significant full circle moment, I would imagine. And you also are pretty well versed with the position that you play, and you know what has come through the building that you now are an employee of over the years. So walking through the castle, seeing the memorabilia, understanding the history, is it a pinch me type of thing? And if it has been a pinch me, how have you also channeled that energy to be like, all right, no, wait a second now. It's time to get down to business, because I don't want to be somebody that just has a cup of coffee here. I want to be like other undrafted guys like Pat Ricard and Justin Tucker, who have become mainstays in this organization.
Yeah, I mean, it's been great. Like you said, walk down the hallway, see the pictures, see, the Lombardi Trophy when you first walk in, and you just get all those memories back, and you're like, man, like I'm here. But also, exactly like you said. I mean, when I'm staying down to earth, because I know like I had a dream to play here, but it wasn't just, as a kid, it wasn't my dream to, just be on the team or just to, come to games and have, a front row seat. Basically, it was, to be a real difference maker and a starter and, win a Super Bowl here. So, I mean, that's what I try to do every day. So, I mean, I'm glad I made the team, but it was just, a prerequisite I need to do before, what I actually want to do. So, I mean, I appreciate, of course, EDC, the coaching staff, for the opportunity. And, I've gotten, to know the guys well, and it's been a great experience. But, my job's not finished yet. So, yeah.
That's right. Unfinished. Who on the team have you kind of connected with the most? And on top of that, do you feel like, even though his game is so different, you have an all-pro safety in the room, plus Marcus Williams. So I guess, who have you connected with the most? And do you feel like has Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Williams been able to, have you learned things from them already so far?
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, I'll say probably connect with most probably would be just some of the other rookies, just because we came in at the same time, like TJ Tampa and Sanusi Kane in my own position. But, I mean, the thing about those older guys, the veterans, and, of course, Kyle, and he's like only 23. So he's young too. He's a year older than me. But, I mean, those thing that's different about those guys is, you might go places in the league or even in college, and, the older guys, the guys starting, might not really try to help you out because, they're worried about their spot, keeping their spot. But I mean, I haven't seen any of that here. Whether it's the safeties in the room or the corners in the room, everyone tries to help everybody. And, that's just, I feel like what it means to really try to be great. They don't care about being scared of losing positions or this or that. They just want to, be the best team they can be. And they want, you to be the best you can be, so we can all help each other win a championship. So, I mean, it's been a great experience with them. If I get one-on-ones with them, asking about their game, I remember probably a couple of weeks into camp, I was asking Marcus Williams how, to play the post better, the middle field better. And so he gave me some, great tips on that. And so, I mean, I feel like I did that the next practice and got like a pick. So, I mean, I'm, trying to be a sponge, playing with all these great players, and it's been great.
Beau, how badly do you want that interception in Atlanta?
Oh my! I swear I got it, but then I keep looking back. I'm like, nah. But like I did really catch it, but I guess too much of the ball hit the ground. But I wanted it back so bad. But then I finished the run pretty poorly. So
you sold the hell out of the thing, though.
Yeah.
And I think it speaks to some of the instincts. You've got this vision that I think was really showcased throughout your preseason play. You got a decent amount of reps that they allowed you to have throughout the summer. And so when you look at your game as a whole and how it translates to the NFL level, what can you tell this fan base that you think best suits you?
I mean, a lot of you have seen me, get down to the box in the preseason, And I mean, I try to make that, a focal point when I was in the preseason of really excelling at that and excelling at hitting my gaps and getting to the running back, in the backfield or, before he gets to me, and being a sure tackler. So that's been something I've been working on in my game. But I mean, I feel like, since I've been saying since before the draft that I feel like I'm a versatile player. You can really just put me anywhere and then I'm going to make plays no matter what. So, I mean, and if I don't know how to play it, I'm going to find out. So, yeah.
Oh, I'll just say I've watched some film breakdowns from you in the preseason. Versatility, I'd say physicality and versatility are the two adjectives I would use to describe you. Like sideline to sideline, if you needed to play the run, like you came through looking like Patrick Queen from last year, hitting a running back in the backfield. You've got good hands. I mean, can track the ball. Like it's everything. Is that what you take the most pride in? Like your versatility?
Yeah, definitely. Because I feel like that's something that not everybody can do, but it also shows that you really love your craft and you work on it daily if you know multiple positions. And then the physicality just comes from growing up in Maryland, watching the Ravens play football. So that's all that is.
Hell yeah. Live chat is loving you right now. I think we got some Terps in here. So live chat, we've got over 2,300 of you in right now for Beau Brade here. Ravens undrafted rookie at the safety position. We will allow you guys to get some Q&A in here. So if you want to go ahead and we'll star those and we'll get to them in just a bit. Sarah, are you good to transition to the game?
Yeah, I was going to ask Beau, did you travel with the team out to KC last night?
Yeah, I traveled. I just didn't suit up.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was that's just an insane ending. It just has been a minute since a game has been that crazy. What was kind of the mood of the team on the plane ride home?
Well, I'll say, of course, in the locker room to start, it was obviously a little quiet.
Mm.
But then, I mean, the plane ride back, guys just start talking about the game and what happened on certain plays and just really, they got into the mindset of, what to do next time, how to do this better, do that better. So, I mean, it's, what it has to be, next game mentality, just like that. We lost and that's the end of that. But I mean, next game up, we have the rest of the season to play. So, I mean, that really was a big difference from college. In college, you might sulk a little bit more, about the loss like that. But I mean, this is the league, I guess, and this is the Ravens. So, next game.
This episode that you're on right now is titled Isaiah Likely Goes Nuclear, and the NFL world is in shock as a result. And so, since you had a front row seat to this, one, you saw the demeanor that Isaiah had not only in game, just playing like an acrobatic freak, whether it was with the ball in his hands or not. What he did to George Karlaftis was illegal. It should have been legal. And then
ran him over.
Yeah. And then Lamar kind of had that same type of mindset post game as well. They were both at the podium, speaking very matter-of-factly, speaking very emotionally. And so I guess I just wonder from your perspective as somebody who just joined this group, just joined the building, what do you make of that DNA? And do you find that it's going to be a contagious type of mindset for this group?
Oh, definitely contagious. I mean, that's just being a competitor and just, striving for greatness and then just being confident in yourself. So, I mean, as a leader myself and someone who's confident and someone, who loves the game, I love to see that. And, we know that we didn't play our best, not even close to it. So to end a game that close when you played, as we feel we played pretty poorly as a collective, I mean, we know what we're capable of. So, yeah.
Specifically on the defense, I loved Roquan Smith post game. Obviously, he's one of the defensive leaders, and he just kept saying, because there was the busted coverage where it seemed like Marlon thought he was handing Worthy off to somebody else, and then they had to call a couple timeouts, and it's obviously under new defensive coordinator week one. You're not going to have these guys can get to play a lot in the preseason, so there's going to be some hiccups for sure. I loved how Roquan just kept saying it starts with me, and kept blaming himself. Is that like did you see, like, were you guys as a defense being like, we know what we got to do, we know how to bounce back, like we know what we did wrong? Like, does it seem like to you that they're going to be able to fix some of those communication issues, sooner than later?
Yeah, most definitely. Like, there were just little hiccups that, cost us in that game, of course. But I mean, right away, we knew what we had to do. And I mean, that's that, Roquan just being, a leader, a great leader, and, just putting that on himself, which, of course, it's not, it's not on himself, but, Roquan, of course, had a great game, and he had that huge interception that we needed. But I mean, as a defense, we were flying around. There's some small things that we just had to, figure out, and that we did figure out to, improve for next time. But I mean, I think, you rather learn now than, in the playoffs, definitely. So I'll get you all those mistakes out now.
Well, Xavier Worthy's a problem. This dude's going to be an issue. I would love to see you selfishly match up with him. Would love to see him and Wiggins in a rematch as well coming up in January. Yeah, we feel like inevitably you guys are going to meet again in January. I think there's this collective belief across the NFL after last night and after last year's championship game that you guys are going to see each other again, and hopefully that's the case, and hopefully it's a different outcome.
And hopefully Beau is dressed for it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, I want him in,
this
I want
misdirection
him in
stuff.
Yeah.
This misdirection Andy Reid schematic stuff. How do you make sense of this? Because they have so much speed. Hollywood wasn't even out there. And so you've got the combination of Mahomes and the escapability. You've got the misdirection stuff. You've got Pacheco who's running downhill at you at any given snap. You've got Rasheed out there kind of killing the intermediate part of your defense last night. And then not to mention Xavier on the swing. I mean, that was unbelievable. So I'm sure you're familiar with his game, being that you guys are, you came out the same year here. But take me through that.
I mean, a lot of different weapons, of course. We feel like they're probably going to be the best competition we played in the, the season. So, I mean, just first of all, the misdirection, I feel like there you just have to have, good eyes. Your eyes have to be on the key, your key the whole time, your right key. And that'll lead you to, plays you need to make. But I mean, the stuff's going to happen. You're going to, people are going to make big plays on you. You just have to bounce back. It's not going to be 100% perfect there all the time, but it's that next play up mentality. So that's what I, feel about that. Can't really say too much about, the game plan and stuff, but that's, how we're going at it and stuff. Yeah.
We don't want to give anything away around here. We're not trying to. This is called the vault. We keep secrets here. Okay. We don't want to give it out to people out there. So, Beau, before we let go, we did have one live chat question here. What Raven player did you look up to the most as a kid?
Easily Ray Lewis. As a kid, I played. I mean, in Little League, I played like every position. In high school was my first time really playing safety, but Ray Lewis 100%. I always try to, hit as hard as he did, and make up the woo hits. And even as when I was a safety, I was just trying to go that hill and make huge hits. Even though we had, of course, on the Ravens the best safety to ever play the game. So I mean, definitely Ray Lewis. Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering, it was going to be Ed or was it going to be Ray? And so, not surprising with how physical you are that you chose Ray. Although Ed was physical too.
Yeah, for sure. Beau, have they communicated with you at all about their vision for you this season? That anything that you can share?
Not yet.
You're just grinding.
Just say stay ready for special teams. So that's what I'm doing.
Okay. Stay ready. Availability first and foremost, and then staying ready number 2, right?
Yep.
Awesome. Well, Beau, we appreciate you popping on here for a few minutes, and we look forward to the opportunity, hopefully, that's coming right around the corner of you dressing. And again, congratulations on just a full circle last couple of weeks, and fantastic summer, and best of luck. Stay healthy this year.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Beau.
Beau Brade, Ravens safety, undrafted rookie out of Maryland, kind enough to spend a few minutes with us today. And what a summer he had.
Oh, I've never, there's been like some undrafted people that you kind of see the fans get behind. And obviously it's because of the Maryland connection, but the way, Baltimore fans just came and had his back the whole time, like wanting him to make this team, cheering him on. And the fact that he responded the way he did. And then he's coming in here on a day, it's too bad. Like the day after the Chiefs, and that loss. And so not the funnest day for him to be celebratory, of course. But I appreciate him kind of letting us in on the mood on the plane ride home in the locker room. And I thought it was interesting. He's like, they're pros. They get over it quick. And it's time to move on to the Raiders. He's like, we'll soak a little bit longer in college. So, but just so much fun to listen to how EDC came up to him and said he had a good offseason, but didn't say, hey, you made the team. And, it's funny because if I were EDC, I would want that moment, and be celebrate with them and, all that kind of stuff. So, but I'm happy to hear that, he calls his parents. They have a good moment together. Some tears shed there. Absolutely happy for him and his family.
Get him in the building. Let's see what happens. And our Darius Washington, similar size to Beau, similar type of game mentality and style of play out of TCU a few years ago. And look at him now. He didn't have a ton of snaps last night, but an easy lock on the 53, a fantastic pass breakup against Xavier Worthy, as we discussed during the post-game show. Perhaps Beau could be heading in that direction. Before we continue the conversation and talk about the Ravens' identity and some of the questions surrounding it, today's live stream has been brought to you by our friends at Manta Sleep. And you guys know the drill. This is the official sleep mask of the Vault. And as you know, these sleep masks, the Manta Sleep Mask Pro that you see on the screen, it gives you true 100% blackout for a deeper sleep. And Sarah, if there's any morning that I can speak to that, it is today. It was a cat nap for me last night. I was scrolling a little bit too late. I was trying to get all the content in that I could. And then, of course, when you and I have 6,000 people in our postgame
2
show,
a.m.,
it tends to bring a little bit of adrenaline fuel to you. It's kind of hard to just lay down immediately after. So, I did not sleep well last night, but I did sleep comfortably because of the sleep mask. It gives you C-shaped eye cups for unbeatable side sleep comfort. Zero pressures applied to your eyelids or lashes. And you've got advanced materials and ventilation built in for unmatched breathability. If you go to mantasleep.com, which you can visit in the show notes, we have a link that's in the top right below. You can use our discount code at checkout if you find something you like. VAULT10. That's VAULT10. We'll get you 10% off your next purchase. And we are super, super grateful to Manta for being with us for yet another football season.
So, Bobby, last night you and I talked a bit about how we thought early in the game, the Ravens were like, all right, we're going all in with Derrick Henry. Yep. He had, I think, 5 carries on the first drive, including the touchdown punch in. He scored the very first touchdown, not only of the Ravens season, but the new 2024 NFL season. And that 5 carries was almost as much as the full 6 carries by running backs in the AFC Championship game. So we're like, all right, this is exactly what we expected. We spent all offseason talking about Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson together.
Yep.
And then from there, it just kind of trailed off.
Yep.
Now, I said last night, and I still stand by it this morning, that I'm not as concerned about the number of snaps he got because of the way the game went. So they could use him a lot in that first drive because it's 0-0. Nobody's got the lead, this and that. But then by the end of the second quarter and the fourth quarter, you're in these 2-minute offenses, and he's not going to be the guy that's running out of the backfield like Justice Hill is, where you can kind of dump it off. And Justice had a great game. Thought Justice had a great game. We'll get to some of the assignments he was given in a little bit in terms of blocking. But, he turned deep, third and longs into first down. So he did a good job. So the number of snaps he got, I'm not as concerned about, because I feel like the game situation pretty much dictated that, where I don't think the AFC Championship game did at first. But
because of how much time they had, in the AFC Championship game. Whereas it's the fourth quarter, it's a two possession game. You got to play from behind strategically.
Mm-hmm.
So,
however, that doesn't mean I'm without any concerns about the usage of Henry. And I felt like a conversation they had on ESPN's Get Up this morning. Hasn't been our favorite messenger in the past. Taylor Lewan or Lewin? They'll say it in the clip. We'll get it right here in a second. But I think Ryan Clark and Dan Orlovsky hit on something that I think is important for the Ravens to address.
Derrick Henry for so long. Last night what we saw was the Ravens really in an identity crisis with the offense.
Explain that.
So they're in the spread a whole bunch. Lamar's so used to doing the zone read. Derek is so used to being under center, given the ball, he can see the line of scrimmage the entire way, running that outside zone look that Matt LaFleur implemented in the beginning when he came to the Tennessee Titans. And so you saw a touch of it. I think we saw Lamar under center more than we ever have in the past couple of years. But now it's like, as a Ravens offense, you need to figure out, are you going to go the Derrick Henry route or make Derrick Henry go the Lamar route?
Because when you have Lamar Jackson, you like, why am I going to keep trying to give you death by 1,000 paper cuts when I can gut you one time? When he can take off and get an open field, you can't get him down. When he can create a second play opportunity, Todd Monk is going to have to make a decision. Can he be patient?
I agree with Taylor. I think this offense is going to have to figure out who they can be and who they want to be. The offensive line is going to be an issue because and Taylor, you speak to this. I think the offensive line matches with Derrick Henry. They're big, they're giant dudes. They want to lean on guys and get downhill running the ball. And everybody else matches with Lamar Jackson. Speed on the perimeter, Likely, Zay Flowers, and Justice Hill. And so they're going to have to figure out, do they want to be spread run? Do they want to be shrunk down run? Do they want to be play action? Do they want to be RPO? They're going to have to figure that out. And I don't think it's just going to be this simple solution.
Okay, so Bobby, obviously Taylor, from the moment the Ravens signed Derrick Henry, was concerned. Like, he didn't feel like he was a fit. He felt like Derrick is used to a quarterback under center, and then he can get a couple of steps in before he hits the line. He can see the whole offensive line, yada, yada. So one could easily say, well, Taylor just wants to be proven right? Because that's what he predicted. But I don't think that's the case necessarily when you have a Dan Orlovsky and Ryan Clark being like, yeah, we see the same thing. Oh, and by the way, and we'll play this in a second, Emory Hunt, who we had on the show, is seeing something similar.
And
what's that?
we didn't have this in because it just came in within the last hour. Add RG3 to that conversation as well.
Okay, add RG3,
who of course knows Lamar very well, put forth a really interesting, it's kind of a monologue. It's very long. So we'll just say it's echoing sort of this identity crisis thought. And so we can get to that in just a bit. But yeah, our friend of the show, Emory Hunt, as well, to your point, kind of dove in deeper too.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll just play his right now.
Yes, let's do it.
Let's get him.
Courtesy of CBS. I got it right here.
That helps it from being a failing grade. Lamar going over 100 yards, you expect that. That's great for him. That's the ultimate X factor. What I don't like about how they utilize Derrick Henry, and I hate this as a running back, where you get predictable by formation and personnel. When they're in the shotgun and Derrick Henry is running sidecar, a lot of times they're not giving him the football. Only when they were in pistol or under center did you see Derrick Henry get the football. So they got to find a way to not get predictable by personnel and by formation, because teams were able to tee off on the Chiefs were able to tee off on Derrick Henry tonight because of that reason. And the Ravens are usually able to run the football when they want to. That wasn't the case tonight. They couldn't run the football when they want to, which tells me the Chiefs were able to dominate the point of attack. So,
yeah, there's so many moving pieces to this. Remember, Dan Orlovsky said he didn't feel like it was going to be a quick fix. And I think part of the reason why is because there's so many webs to this. There's the offensive line issues. Then there's what Emory Hunt is speaking about, the predictability based off of formations and personnel. And so when Derrick Henry's in, it's like, okay, they're going to, try to run it up the gut. And then when Justice Hill is in, they're going to do, a dump off outside, or he's going to be blocking or whatever. Or, and then also so there's that part of it, like the predictability, the offensive line. And then there's what Dan Orlovsky was speaking to, which was you have like the spread offense with these speedy guys, which really worked well with Keaton Mitchell, right? Because he kind of fit that and with Lamar. So Lamar's like skinny Lamar again, skinny, speedy Lamar again. And so the idea coming into it was like, okay, cool. You're going to have like thunder and lightning. And so, but again, then is there predictability there? So it sounds all nice that you have these speed guys and then you have this power guy, but how is it all going to come together? And then the last thing, so those are those three issues. And then the fourth issue is what Ryan Clark spoke to, which is like, when you're an offensive coordinator and you're trying to kill somebody else a death by 1,000 cuts, but then you have Lamar who can just go get a chunk of 10 yards right away. Yeah. It's like, wait, why do I want to keep feeding him? Now, again, I'm not going so far down that road until I see a game where they're playing from, with a lead and then can use him more in the second and fourth quarters. But it's all of those things, under center, RPO, like add a shotgun, add a pistol. It's like all of these things. And so this is week 1. I'm not going to give up. I'm not like sounding the alarm bells yet. And maybe I wouldn't even use the word crisis just yet, but it's definitely a question. And so they're going to have to figure out how to best utilize all these fantastic pieces without being predictable. And that's the challenge to Todd Monken and this offense.
Yeah, no, it's well said. There were times last night where I woke up this morning and I'm like, why did it feel so like past Raven-esque in terms of like, was Derek there? Did they have Derek? And of course they did have Derek. We all watched what it looked like on that opening drive with the RPO game and the mesh point. And it was just, they had no clue. I mean, that one mesh point play that I can think of in the opening drive where Lamar pulled it. Oh, I mean, that was just a thing of beauty. And so there were just times where you thought to yourself, because of what you just referenced, which is why we're not sounding the alarm bells, because of playing from behind, there were just times where it felt past Raven-esque, offensively speaking. Where is Derek? And so that's why after one game, the identity crisis conversation does seem premature. But because of how many different cooks there are in the kitchen or mouths that need to be fed, we haven't even added Keaton Mitchell back into the equation yet. And we haven't even talked about how it was so heavy 12 personnel last night, which you love. We talked about it all.
Very heavy. Wasn't it like
it was
like
historically
57%, something crazy.
It was historically heavy in terms of what they've done in the past. I have the specific number right here.
Oh, you do?
So 12 personnel. We all know 1 running back, 2 tight ends. That was featured on 52.7% of plays called by Todd Monken last night. And that's a higher mark than in any game last season. So
say the percentage again?
52.7.
52.7. Okay.
So
in the 50s.
The interesting part there is we love it.
We love it. We've been calling for it.
We've
and Isaiah went off really as a receiver outside too.
And Isaiah went off, and he literally did everything on that, especially on the last drive, like you said, on the outside, literally hugging the sideline, the right-hand sideline, all the way down the field.
All the way down. But we got our 2-minute drive.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So that's for sure. But the question that still remains, even if you want to continue to deploy that type of strategy at 12 personnel, are both going to be able to eat. And so far,
Mark, what was it? 2 targets.
Mark was a non-factor. Mark was a non-factor. Doesn't mean that he can't be taken into account for. He has to be taken into account for, and that opens up other mouths. But we know that those two can be just as impactful together simultaneously any given game. So good stuff there from Emory. Good stuff there from a great panel this morning on ESPN. And apparently they don't have a suit policy anymore. Luan looked like a rock star. He looked like a 70s rock star.
And then Ryan Clark in that yellow leather or pleather. I don't know which one it was.
Here we go again talking. Crazy. Here we go again talking fashion, you and me.
Yeah, it's something we should never do. So I don't know why we do it at all. But just some things to revisit from the game. Some updates here. We know that Kyle Van Noy left the game due to his eye. Steve Weish. He's NFL Network, right? Steve Weish. Yeah. So Steve Weish of NFL Network, he reported this morning that Van Noy suffered a fractured orbital bone. In Thursday's loss to the Chiefs. According to a source with direct knowledge of the injury, he will undergo further testing to determine how much time he will miss. That would make the outside linebackers group pretty thin.
Yeah, especially because of his Sam role that he plays really, really well.
Yeah.
Who's up next?
Well, he has played Sam, but remember, he's actually been happy that they've been like, no, just go get the quarterback, and he credits that's why he got so many sacks last year.
Sure, 9 of
So
them to be exact. So
9 of them.
regardless, though, obviously coming off a career year, the veteran Super Bowl pedigree experience that he has under his belt can't be overstated. So you hope that this isn't a season-ending deal. He looked
Right.
like he was in some serious pain, walked off on his own power, as you're seeing here on the screen, and
Which
then
you
was
can do
listed as
for an
questionable.
orbital break. You can still walk,
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's just got to be so painful and honestly scary when it has to do with the eye. But so then he, listed as questionable, then ruled out not long after. So we'll follow in terms of what his timetable is because that's a big deal for a room that has got some question marks. We know that in the offensive line.
The other thing I wanted to revisit, Bobby, I don't know if you can help me find it. It's somewhere in here. You brought in a slide where they dug. Here, is this it?
The busted coverage.
Yeah, the busted coverage. I wanted
Or
we
yeah.
yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Because we
What's this
talked about
remind
it.
you of?
Yeah, what'd you say?
What's this remind you of?
I don't know.
The look of the screenshot. Like, is there something that maybe it reminds you of in the past?
No, I don't know where you're leading me.
It's more it was about in September of 2022. It felt like things like this in Mike McDonald's first
I had
season.
no clue where I was like, all 22, like we bring in these screen grabs all the time. Like I have no idea what you're talking about.
It felt similarly from 1,000 feet up of
Right.
some of the communication assignment
Mhm.
miscues that happened in that opening month that led to Rex Ryan calling the infamously the hot shot
Hot
coordinator.
shots.
Remember?
Yes. They don't know what they're doing. He's terrible, this hot shot coordinator. Yeah. Yeah.
That's exactly it.
That was
That's
it.
exactly what he said. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we also have the video of this, by the way. So
Can we
we
play
can
it?
also we can if we want to get
I think we
crafty.
should still steer clear of it.
Okay.
Personally.
Okay.
I don't want a copyright ding. Like the actual playing stuff,
Lord knows
I don't
we've had
know.
enough of them. So.
Yeah, so, but you found this. What did Doug get? What did Doug say here? His guess of what happened here.
Yeah. So again, for those of you in the audio only audience, this is the Marlon Humphrey busted coverage single on the outside top of your screen here on Xavier Worthy, which was one of his 2 touchdowns. And so Doug's guess, Doug Farrar, Juju Smith-Schuster's motion across, and Isaiah Pacheco. Again, here's more of the misdirection. Juju Smith-Schuster's motion across and Pacheco's swing route outside the numbers messed up the communication. This is Doug's guess. Trenton Simpson took Smith-Schuster at the snap, and Kyle Hamilton was supposed to drop, but he fixated on the Juju Pacheco combo instead.
Oh, he thinks it was the All-Pro.
Seems like that makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense, but sometimes stuff that makes sense when we're all guessing of who was who can be wrong. But
Yeah.
Doug's no rookie here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so he thinks it was Hamilton.
Yeah. Yeah. But Marlon was on an island.
Is that who is in yellow? Is Hamilton in
Yes.
yellow? Okay.
Yes.
And then is that Simpson trying to run into the yellow?
Trenton is
mistake him?
below it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Marlon's up top, of course, with Xavier about to get burnt. But it's clear in the replay that Marlon thought that he was handing him off.
Oh, for sure. There's no doubt about that.
If there's anything that's clear about this, it's that.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. There's other room for interpretation.
But who else? Because if you think about it, to Doug's point, Marcus Williams is on the other side of the field. So it's not him.
No.
And you're usually passing it off to a safety. You're not passing Worthy off to Trenton Simpson. Okay. Yep. So I'm not going to put it on him. So it feels pretty good that whether Hamilton was supposed to be there or not, I don't know. But for sure, if Marlon Humphrey thought he was passing him off, it seems like he would be passed off to Marlon Humphrey or Kyle Hamilton based off of where everybody is at this point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's get to something that we spent quite a bit of time chatting about last night, and that was not only the offensive line, but the way in which this illegal formation, which of course was an off-season priority from the NFL, they sent out professional officials to work with teams about this, and it was going to be an uptick in terms of enforcement. Kurt Bankert just tweeted out, he's a former NFL QB. I think he used to back up Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, if I'm not mistaken. Kurt said, I just finished watching the All-22 from the game last night. It's even worse than I originally thought.
Oh.
After games, teams submit plays to the league that were officiated wrong for clarification, but the teams can't speak publicly on those plays. Lots of explaining to do. Each team was playing a different game by different rules, and the film doesn't lie.
Oh, this is Kurt Warner?
Kurt Bankert.
Oh, I thought you said Kurt Warner. I was like, geez. Who's Kurt Bankert?
Kurt Bankert is a former NFL QB backup who, he was with Atlanta. He played at East Carolina and Virginia. He played with three different NFL teams, including, so he backed up Aaron in 2021. Just to be clear, this is the big one here. Kurt Bankert, each team was playing a different game by different rules, and the film doesn't lie. I'd love a Roger Goodell statement on it. That, on top of this, more national reaction, if you could get the slide while I read these tweets. Damian Woody weighing in on the illegal formation enforcement and the unbalanced nature with which this was enforced. This is crazy because Jawan Taylor, Chiefs tackle, damn sure is lining up no better than these Ravens offensive tackles.
Yup.
Marcus Spears, bruh.
Here, real quick.
Yeah.
Let me show you, because there it is right there. Somebody named Steel City Joker. I don't know who that is. Could it be a guy from Pittsburgh? I don't know. But we're seeing it. They're not lining up better. Sorry, keep going.
No, that's okay. That shows literally right there. Jawan Taylor, right tackle. Not only was he lined up incorrectly there, but he was getting a quick little start too. He was jumping, I thought, a couple times as well. Right-hand side of Kansas City's line. Marcus Spears, bruh. The refs let this S go on for 10 minutes. Mike Giardi,
that was when they stopped Pacheco. You're supposed to call it dead.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe they would have scored. I don't know what down it was. So say like it wasn't third down. So maybe they would have another shot. But it's like, what's the defense supposed to do? They stopped him and moved him back, and you still didn't blow the whistle dead. Like, how long are you supposed to hold that wall?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
That was tough. That felt like they had forever to get across. Mike Giardi says this is embarrassing for the league. Brandon Stokely went off. This was one of like 4 tweets that he sent. I love Stokes.
He was mad.
Stokes says, just ruining the game. Just give the Chiefs the win. I guess you can't touch Mahomes. This was the Matabike roughing call. Of course, they just show one quick replay and then move on. That was a game-changing call. Brutal. He also ripped the officials for the Tyler Linderbaum phantom holding as well. Emery Hunt, back to the illegal formation, says that the league can go to hell with the illegal formation BS. Emery's not typically speaking up like that. And then Barstool also took a look at the illegal formation as well. You pulled this in. Was there a specific reason why?
Well, it would just mostly show that Jawan James. Yeah.
Or Jawan Taylor. Yeah.
Jawan Taylor. If he just he started backing up before the ball was snapped.
Yeah.
Like well before.
Yeah.
And then so you can see on the sidelines Harbaugh yelling at the ref saying you're not calling it both ways. Like you can see and he says it twice. You can read his lips clear as day.
Yeah.
He's like, you're not calling it both ways. It's without a doubt. And it is. And this is why we talk about it. Like Chiefs fans can, troll and say, oh, your excuses and you're whining and this and that. And of course the Ravens still had a chance to win and all of it with those throws at the end of the end zone. We know that. We know there was a busted coverage. But this is insane. Like, we've talked about the Chiefs being a potential dynasty here. They don't need your help. They don't need help from refs. And like every single game, you're going to have people say, hey, this is a bad call. Hey, that was a bad call. And we should always analyze that, because players are analyzed to a centimeter, as we saw yesterday with Isaiah Likely. It's a centimeter.
Yeah.
How can we sit here and say, have these long discussions, did Lamar cost the Ravens the game, when he completed it to Isaiah Likely and he's a centimeter over with his toe? And we will pick that apart for like infinitely. It's like being talked about all over today. Podcasts like ours, national media, radio, newspaper, social media, everywhere. You're picking that play, you're picking Lamar apart, you're picking Isaiah Likely apart. And yet you have all of these people who are not Baltimore Ravens fans saying it was called two different ways. It's unacceptable. And when the league talks about having the shield, having integrity and all that kind of stuff, which I'm here for, you got to get your house in order. You can't have two teams playing by two different sets of rules. It's unacceptable. And for a minute, as you're watching it, I'm sure Ravens fans are feeling the same way I am. I'm like, geez, am I like going crazy here? Like, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but this seems crazy. Eight illegal formation penalties to 0? Like, I know our offensive line isn't good, but is it that bad? Is it that bad that they can't figure out where to line up? Where you have a former all-pro left tackle, he can't figure out where to line up? And you've got a rookie over there? And Juwante, like it just, like, you're like wondering to yourself, and then all of a sudden you're like, no, I'm not crazy, because all these non-Baltimore media saw what we saw, and they're calling it balls and strikes. Like, so it was nice to get that validation that it was like, okay, great, we're not going crazy here in Baltimore.
Here's what Ronnie Stanley had to think.
We knew that they were going to make a new emphasis on the legal formations, and we were talking to refs and OTAs actually, and we got pretty good clarification, and we were doing a good job in OTAs, and all of a sudden today, the refs, whatever calls they made, it's their decision, but didn't feel consistent with what we were told from the other refs earlier on.
Did you say you were surprised it was the first time it was called on you?
Yeah, I mean, second play of the game, first pass play of the game, no warning before that, I thought it was a little different, and then the way it was going through the game, I really feel like they were just trying to make an example and chose me to be the one to do that. And, as far as I saw, they weren't doing it on both sides of the ball, and I know that I was lined up, in a good position, majority of those calls they made, but we'll go back, watch the film, and make sure everyone will send it in.
So I tried to up the ante there in terms of the audio, but just in case it was a little bit muffled for you guys, Ronnie said he felt the refs were trying to make an example out of him with the illegal formation enforcement. He said it was not called the way the team was told it would be called when the professional refs visited training camp or OTAs over the summer. He also said he was looking at how the Chiefs tackles were lining up, as we just did, and he couldn't understand why the Ravens were getting called and Kansas City wasn't. He's calling for accountability with the refs. You better believe John Harbaugh and company will be sending some in. And then another quote there, I'm looking at their tackles, especially the right side, and I know I'm lining up in front of that guy, and they didn't call him one time. It's a little bit of making me feel like I'm crazy. This is literally echoing what you just said. It's a little bit of making me feel like I'm crazy that I don't know where I'm lining up. So perhaps some guinea pig role that was thrown onto the Ravens last night. But again, why wasn't it both ways? It should have been a two-way guinea pig.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the weird part, is like when they first called like one or two, and then everybody's tweeting, hey, the NFL is making an emphasis on this. And it's like, oh, okay, well, like, make an emphasis on it then, and then we're all going to learn from it. But like when you're making an emphasis with one team and not the other, like that's where the gripe comes in. I mean, it was just crazy. It was crazy. So coaches held accountable, players held accountable, referees held accountable.
Super Chats held accountable. Nikita, thank you for your $10 Super Chat donation. Flock Nation, what's more frustrating, the layups we expect Lamar to make or the scripted old media disrespect? Huh. You saying Lamar didn't take the layups last night? Is that what you're saying?
I thought he did. I thought he did a good job.
Yeah, but thank you for the Super Chat donation.
Yeah, I felt
Live
like he
chat
was.
can discuss that.
I think
Rave,
if you were gonna pick something apart with Lamar, it was more just some of the deeper passes off a little bit, although he did connect with Bateman. But he had 2 off deep passes, and then obviously, I think that first pass in the end zone to Isaiah was off target. Then the Zay thing was just, I think, a Zay and Bateman thing was miscommunication. But if you're gonna like pick apart Lamar, that's what he did. That's more what it would be. It was like he was a little off on some of those deep balls, but I thought he made really good decisions all night long.
yeah.
Yeah.
Bateman, by the way, I mean, they obviously connected on that unbelievable. What an adjustment made mid-route by Rashad to kind of like turn his body around and catch that with silky smooth hands. Like that was incredible. But those two did have a couple other disconnects as well, unfortunately, through the air. Rave Kingdom says, I'm done with number 77. That's Daniel Lele, if you were wondering. Start Ben Cleveland now. Okay. Chef Trez, could Joe Evans take Malik Harrison's spot, or is that wishful thinking? It's wishful thinking, I think. Malik had a rough night, and I don't know why Trenton Simpson's not an every down linebacker for you.
Right. I think
actually, Dan
Roquan got beat.
Orlovsky,
Roquan got beat too in there. The linebackers.
he did.
Yeah.
Rashee Rice torched the middle part of the field.
Oh yeah.
Torched the intermediate game. The Ravens
Yeah.
had no answer for last night.
Yeah.
The intermediate passing attack from Kansas City. Ravens didn't have an answer in the middle part of the field, and that's an area that they were dominant in last year.
People are misinterpreting layups again. Layups, as Kurt Warner defined it, is making the right decision in a definitive situation.
Yeah. Not dip and dunk.
It's not dink and dunk. It's not checkdowns. It's not always being on target. If you're speaking to accuracy, speak to accuracy.
Yep.
Layups, as Kurt Warner defined it, is not what you're saying it is. It's decision making. Just want to put that out there. Sorry.
Max, no, you're good. Because I'm glad you keep saying that, because it's easy to take Kurt's theory, and view it as like a standard definition.
Because you're
like
thinking of a layup like you're up
basketball.
up close to like the hoop. I get it, and so maybe maybe he needs a new term.
Yeah.
But that is not how he defined it.
Yeah. Max, thank you for your donation. Joining late. 2021 vibes? Nothing.
What is
Nothing's
that?
Gonna be 2021 vibes.
What, isn't that injury?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hopefully not.
No, the Ravens are very healthy.
That mojo would be
Like
tricky.
2021 vibes, we'd already have like 10 people on IR.
Oh, good Lord. Not a fan. Thank you. I can't even go to Foot Locker because I'm ready to put hands on anything that even looks like a ref. Zebras ain't even safe. Yeah, don't injure anybody in Foot Lockers, please. Not a fan. Be careful over there. That's hilarious. And then DMV Nation, thank you for your support, and thank you for popping in. You gotta love when people they're like, I want to support you guys, but I don't have a question, so I'm just gonna throw you $5.
Yeah.
What a nice gesture.
Yeah.
Super nice gesture.
So sorry, just more layup conversation because they're still coming in. You can use your definition of layup if you want to, but when you're citing Kurt Warner and saying he's not doing what Kurt Warner said, you have to use Kurt Warner's definition. Like if you want to use like it's an easy throw, so make an easy throw, that's fine, but that's not the definition that Kurt gave.
Well, have him go back and listen to
and the original commenter said, "Oh, he wasn't doing what Kurt did," and said, "Take layup." That's like if you're going to cite Kurt, use his definition, not your own.
Send him over to the episode. They'll know the definition after.
Yeah.
Kurt Warner, exclusive interview from earlier in the week, and go check it out in the archives. Brian Walters and Michael Rossi, this is your monthly shout out because of the support that you give us through Patreon. We appreciate your commitment to us, your investment into us, and thank you so much for believing in what we're building. If you guys are interested in doing the same to kind of kickstart the beginning of football season, it's a great time to do so. You can visit the show notes below or just type in patreon.com/RavensVault podcast, and that's where you can find everything that we have that we are offering to you this football season. You can do so for as little as $1.99. In the meantime, we can always be reached via email at BaltimoreRavensVault@gmail.com. And we just got another I love when we get these
They
towards
always
the
coming
end.
at the end of the show, yeah.
Because I feel like what Shifty Diaz is saying here, and Evan was last night, and everybody else that was throwing him in at the last minute was like, well, wait a second, where are you two going?
Yeah.
And we're gonna be like, we're leaving.
Yeah.
I can't even keep my eyes open. But thank you, Shifty Diaz. Was the Nate underplay a designed decision?
I think so.
Weird.
So when John Harbaugh speaks, is he going to speak today or Monday? I guess Monday because they're going to go back to a regular schedule
Wait,
next
I
Monday.
don't get the question. Do you?
Well, he's saying.
What is the question?
Oh, I think he's saying the way I interpreted it was Nate not playing a lot. Was that
underplay.
by
I'm
design?
sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. My brain
So,
is
there's
jello.
a lot of questions that I would have for Harbaugh whenever he speaks. It probably is going to be Monday. That's going to be one. Why so little of Nate? Also, might want to ask some questions about
Derek
the Justice Hill
Yeah.
blocking Chris Jones multiple times last night.
Oh yeah.
Whoa. Would just like to. And by the way, I thought he actually held his own compared to what we saw in the AFC Championship game. I mean, he was given some tough assignments.
Yeah.
But Lamar also helped him a lot. How many times did Lamar just step right up in the pocket, He's like, "Oh, I'm not playing with that." So there's that question. There's also the question of the follow-up of the officiating and if they've talked to him, but he's not going to be able to say much. And then the usage of Derrick Henry
Definitely
is a big one. Yeah.
Definitely usage. Would I have anything else added into that? Oh, hopefully we'll have a timetable for Kyle Van Noy.
Oh yeah.
By then, because that's important. And I'm sure there's going to be other things that we'll think of throughout the weekend. But
yeah,
this is a good start.
It's a good start.
Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Hey, I wore this shirt for a reason today, Bobby.
Nice.
Officiating, everything that happened, it's what Beau Brade said. Move on to the next game. Lamar Jackson stays healthy. Patrick Mahomes stays healthy. They're meeting again in the playoffs. So move on. Get as best of a seed you can by winning this next game. This next game starts it. Got to still win the AFC North. Try to win the division. Try to get a great seed. Probably not going to get number 1 seed because now the Chiefs have a tiebreaker advantage. Unless they somehow melt down, which doesn't look like will be the case. So nobody cares. Work harder. Do your job. Do what you can control. You got to move on. Us out here in the media, we won't move on too quickly, but you have to move on inside the building. And according to Beau, they already started that on the plane ride home.
Yeah, and now you got a mini bye coming off a Thursday night game. So you get about 10 days to get yourself right. Home opener will be the 15th. Yeah, Sunday the 15th coming up next weekend. So Vegas Raiders will be in town, and we just got one more Super Chat feature while we're at it. So, AG, thank you.
Thank you, AG.
Thank you all for the support that you give us, whether it be through Patreon, whether it be through your what seemingly feel like every single show, Super Chat donations, whether it be just chiming in, just tuning in, leaving live chats, leaving comments. Like the video if you enjoyed today's broadcast. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified of when we're dropping our daily content. Go check out our Kurt Warner conversation from earlier in the week. Our post-game live stream is also up and available for you. We went into deep into the night, into detail as well. Yeah, deep into the morning. And there might have to be a nap in the near future here, but
I have an eye appointment, Bobby.
Oh,
I got to fix this blurry nearsightedness.
Okay, while you're there, ask them
Oh.
about the timetables for orbital fractures.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh man. All right, cool. Well, good luck with that.
Yep.
I will, for those of you who are going to be around this late afternoon into the weekend, Femi Ayambadejo will be on my personal channel at 4
he's
o'clock.
Gonna go off.
Femi, you know Femi's coming in hot. So
yeah.
Would encourage you guys to drop by the Bobby Baltimore side of things in 2.5 hours. And thanks to Beau Brade for dropping by the channel. Great to catch up with him, and glad that we could get that on the books for today. And hopefully the next time it'll be under better circumstances coming off a win. So anyway, you guys are the best for being with us. What a fantastic week. Barring something unforeseen, Sarah and I will next be in action on Monday. We get a nice little weekend off. And it'll be 12 noon, of course, on Monday. So have a great weekend. For Sarah Ellison, I'm Bobby Trossett signing off from this Friday Ravens Lunch Hour live stream. If you haven't already done so, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and thank you to Manta Sleep for sponsoring this episode. Catch you guys soon. Thanks for being with us inside the vault.